IKEA, a name which needs no introduction, holds an insane brand power globally. This company, which makes more than $40 billion in revenue, expands every year to a new country, opening up more and more stores. To date, the company has got 445 stores in over 50 countries worldwide, with India getting 5 stores as well. But the thing which is not common knowledge about the company is that majority of the revenue so generated is owing to unplanned purchases by the customers who visit an IKEA store. This is corroborated by a study conducted by University College London, which states that 60% of the total purchases are impulse buys. And IKEA's own creative director admits to the fact that only 20% of the store's purchases are based on actual logic. So this makes one wonder, what kind of psychological driven super successful business strategies does the company employ? And in what discreet manner, which is minting money for the company while emptying the pockets of its consumers without even giving out any push offers or marketing ploys? How did IKEA become a poster boy for furniture brands all over the world? And how does it trick customers into buying more stuff? Chapter 1. Architect or a psychologist. People imagine you enter a mall to purchase a pair of Nike shoes, and the first thing you notice is that it has a terrible layout, since even after roaming about for 10 minutes, you can't seem to find the Nike showroom you were looking for, because the shop numbers either don't run sequentially or the numbers aren't even displayed outside the shop. So you think and wonder, why did the mall hire such a lousy architect? Well, that's because they didn't hire an architect, instead hired a good psychologist. Sounds weird, right? Well, you see, in reality, the complicated layout of the mall is a deliberate attempt to confuse you, the shopper, distract you with embellishments of shiny objects so that you lose track of your initial plans of buying shoes, and tire you out, which as a result would make you more susceptible to impulse purchases. This whole process is based on a phenomenon known as the Gruen effect, and that's what IKEA employs in its stores, which drives its majority revenue from unplanned purchases. So before we see how IKEA implements the Gruen effect, let's first compare an IKEA store layout with a traditional retail store design. The retail stores are generally designed with 3 goals in mind. Number 1. As the customer enters, they should be able to easily navigate through the floor plan, like here in the spine layout. Number 2. The floor plan should also be clear and easily comprehensible to the customer, like in this grid layout, which helps customers with signs. And number 3. The layout should have a clear visual feel for the exposure to products, as is the case with racetrack layout here. But now if you check out this IKEA layout, you'll notice that the customer is bound to move in a preordained way path, which leads them through 50 plus room settings, and the typical shopper thus ends up walking more than a kilometer easily. So now let's take an example in which Rachel wants to purchase a bedside lamp. So to reach the lamp, she will have to walk past couches, cutleries, utensils, innovative center tables, fancy candles and whatnot. Now, knowing Rachel and her general tendency to go on a shopping spree, this gives IKEA 3 major advantages of Rachel's shopping tendencies. Firstly, it forces Rachel to have a wider product exposure because it takes her through its entire catalog, whereas in a general retail store, she would have laid eyes only on 33% of the products on an average. Secondly, it creates a sense of mystery and intrigue for Rachel because every 50 feet, the path brings in a new turn, which keeps her on her feet to wonder what's around the next turn which will astonish her. Thirdly, the layout creates a false sense of scarcity for each product because the product won't be available after this turn. This, as a result, forces Rachel to add to the cart since she does not want to backtrack another kilometer through the maze again later on. Now in this example, if you analyze closely, as Rachel went past each IKEA room, she felt like going through a Disneyland for adults, which made her submit totally to the IKEA experience. She lost control to the IKEA layout maze, and when she did that, at the moment, she handed over control of her wallet as well. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Gruen effect in all its glory in practical sense inside an IKEA store. Chapter 2. an offer you cannot refuse. So we ended our chapter 1 earlier with Rachel shopping her heart out. But the first question which should be asking is that why did Rachel think of going to IKEA to buy that lamp in the first place? What enticed Rachel towards IKEA and no other store? Well, the answer lies in IKEA's affordable low prices, which can't be matched by its competitors. This is because of IKEA's philosophy of price first, design later, which means it preemptively decides upon pricing for a new product and then reverse engineers around the design process to meet that pricing goal. And it does not end there, but I think I'm getting ahead of myself. So let's understand by making it more simple with the help of an example. Let's say IKEA decided to make a chair which would target an audience looking for comfort more than anything. So they decided to make a chair to retail for $180. So the engineers then go to the design board, develop the packaging plans and collaborate with suppliers to make sure the components required to make the product meet the requirements of comfort more than anything. So for this chair, they would focus more on providing better quality foam instead of making the chair out of royal oak wood. Why is that? Well, firstly, since royal oak wood is a higher grade of wood, therefore using it as raw material in manufacturing would overshoot the pricing of goal of $180. And secondly, the chair's main objective is to provide comfort instead of luxury. So even a normal grade wood would serve the objective, in this case saving cost. So now you have the chair ready to retail at $180. Once this chair hits the store shelves, IKEA, unlike other manufacturers, would keep innovating on this chair to either maintain or lower down the price of the chair as the demand progresses. So in a sense, this chair now becomes part of IKEA's ecosystem of products which face survival of the fittest pricing model. If the chair's demand cannot be reduced over time, it will most probably be discontinued. And in a more real-term example, this is depicted here with IKEA's insanely popular Poang chair, which started retailing for $179 or $340 adjusted for inflation back in 1994, and over time has come to retail for just $129. This is also true as seen here with the Billy Book case and Lakside table, which have drastically come down by a staggering 76% and 80% respectively to provide best value to the customers. But this begs the question, how does IKEA manage to reduce the price of its products to this extent? How does this not impact the profitability of the company? Well, this can be attributed to IKEA's two major weapons in its arsenal. Number one, the main ingredient to the company's affordability is a technique called flat packaging. Under this, the company reduces the manufacturing, logistics and fulfillment costs, disassembling the items and fitting pieces together in a box as tightly as possible. This is clearly evident from its egg-top sofa example, which when flat packed, shrunk the packaging of the product by 50%, reduced its logistics by 7477 trucks and led to a 14% reduction for consumers. The second ingredient is economies of scale. As the product becomes more and more popular, sells more and more units, the cost of manufacturing the product comes down per unit. As a result, the company can reduce the price since low margins on large scale sales for the product will make up for the profit. And that's how IKEA makes use of constant innovation on not only newly launched products but rather best selling decades old products as well, which allows the company to provide low prices on its products to customers, and which is the reason why Rachel was so excited to directly hit an IKEA store without giving it any thought. Chapter 3. Which one's the decoy? So as Rachel was shopping in the store for the lamp, she came across some cabinets which caught her attention. But she was offered 3 options for a single cabinet design. The first option was retailing for $40 because it was a budget cabinet made out of budget raw materials. The second option was slightly bigger cabinet, again made from budget materials but retailing for $70. But then there was this third option which had premium finish, was made up of premium materials and was the same size as the second option cabinet and retailing for only $10 more than it. Now Rachel thinks to herself, since the third cabinet is obviously more premium quality, the same size as the second one and retailing for only $10 more, this is a no-brainer for her and she chooses the third option because for Rachel, this cabinet is the worthy product for her money. But what Rachel doesn't realize here is that the second option was placed on purpose over there to act as a decoy between the cheaper $40 product and the premium $80 product in order to manipulate her to purchase the costlier item, even though the $40 cabinet would have served her purpose as well. So it's strategies like these, the decoy effect, which explain why we buy more stuff, shell out more money on account of product quality, and give in to the ploy of IKEA's psychological weapon. But looking from IKEA's perspective, the company, just with the help of behavioral science principles, was able to instantly turn a $40 sale into an $80 sale, thereby raising the 100% revenue from just one product. If you think about it, it's actually astounding. Alright, now if you put this on a timeline and try to put together the geniusness of IKEA's architect cum psychologist. Firstly, we are pulled towards IKEA's product in the hopes of cheaper product availability, which will as a result help us save money. Then we are put to go through a very confusing layout, which although makes us follow one track path, makes us fall victim to the Gruen effect, because of which we not only start exploring other products, we start weighing the product value and thus get entangled in the web of decoy effect to make a far more costlier and, mind you, impulse purchase, which was not even on our shopping list. And all this, ladies and gentlemen, makes IKEA take you on a roller coaster ride through its fairy tale land to ultimately result in tricking you to buy more products while putting more money in their pockets. And that was the episode, ladies and gentlemen. If you liked the episode, please hit that like button below and subscribe to the channel. We will be back with more knowledge-filled content. See you until next time. Mindfulness signing off.